Righto, factorising monic trinomials today. So, when we factorise a monic trinomial, what we're trying to do is we're trying to get it into a form that looks sort of like x plus or minus something, x plus or minus something else. So, there's a couple of ways we can do this. I'm going to teach you one way. What we need is we need to find something that multiplies to give c and adds to give b. And that'll help us determine what goes in here and here. So there's a couple of quick shortcuts. If our c, our last term, is negative, then we know that the signs are going to be different. One's going to be positive, one's going to be negative in our x plus minus whatever, x plus minus whatever. So if c is negative, then we're going to be, one will be positive, one will be negative. Or if c is a positive number, they're both going to be the same. So you could have x plus something, or you could have x minus something, x minus something. Either one. And when we get something like this, what we're trying to do is we're trying to find numbers that multiply to give 10. And the way I set my working out is I put P, S and F. So the product, which is our C term, is 10, positive 10. Our S, our sum term, is 7, and we need to think of ways to make 10. So we can make 10 using 1 and 10, but they don't add to 7. We can make it using 5 and 2, and that adds to 7. So that's going to be our factors. So we can then write it as x, it's positive 5, x plus 2. So for fairly simple ones, it's just a matter of writing out the factors. You'll notice that I put the 5 first. There's no particular reason for that. It doesn't matter which one goes first or second. It makes no difference. Now, if we wanted to, we could actually go through and do our expansion. X times x is x squared. X times 2 is 2x. 5 times x is 5x. And 5 times 2 is 10. And what we'll do once we've got that, we've got x squared, 2x plus 5x is 7x plus 10. And you'll see we've got exactly the same as what we started with, so we know we've done it right. Here's one that's a little bit different, but we're going to follow exactly the same process. P, S, F. So my product in this case is minus 8. My sum is positive 2. And we need to know a couple of things. I can see that my C term is negative, so they're going to have different signs. So one's going to be negative, one's going to be positive. I need to make 8, and there's a couple of different ways to make 8. I can do 1 and 8. So 1 plus 8, that's not going to work for me. I can do 4 and 2. 4 times 2 gives me 8. And I want to make positive 2, so one of them has to be negative. We'll make the 2 negative. 4 take away 2 gives me 2, so that's going to be my answer. So I'm going to put the 2 first, because it's the negative, and I'm going to have 4 as my other one. Once again, we're just going to go through and we're going to do the expansion just to make sure we got it right. Nothing less than doing a question, not checking your answer and getting it wrong. So we get x squared plus 4x, and we're going to do the minus 2, so minus 2x. Minus 2 times 4 is minus 8. We're going to end up with x squared plus 2x minus 8, which is what we've done before, so we've got the question right. This one here, we've got a slightly different case. Now, exactly the same process each time. PSF, our product term is positive 10. Our sum term is negative 7. And we need to make 10, we need to use factors that are going to add to minus 7. So, my C term is positive, so therefore I'm going to have the same sign. I can see that my sum term, or the B term, is negative, so I'm going to say that they're both going to be negative factors. Ways to make 10, we can do 1 times 10, we can do 2 times 5, 2 and 5, but remember, we need to make them all negative. Negative 1 minus 10 gives us negative 11, so it's not that one. Negative 2, take away another 5, gives us negative 7, so we're going to have negative 2, negative 5. Again, exactly the same process. Once we've got our answer, multiply through, expand the bracket, so x squared minus 5x to the minus 2x plus 10. Simplify by collecting right terms. We got what we started with, so we know that one's correct. This one here, we're going to have to take a slightly different tact. In this first one, I reckon we've got a common factor that we can pull out. I reckon we can pull a factor of 2 out and have x squared minus x minus 6. Once we've pulled that common factor out, guess what? Exactly the same process. PSF. Our product term, in this case, because we've pulled that common factor out, we're going to use minus 6. We got a negative x, which is negative 1, and we need to make 6. And we're going to have, because we've got a negative term, we know that it's going to be, one of them is going to be positive, and one of them is going to be negative. So to make 6, we can do 1 times 6, we can do 2 times 3, and that's pretty much it. 1 and 6, well, there's no way to make that sum to minus 1. We know one of them is going to be negative, one of them is going to be positive. We've got 2 and 3, so I reckon 2 take away 3 is going to give me minus 1. So 3 is my negative, 2 is my positive part of the factor, and then once again, that's right, we're going to multiply through, make sure we've got the correct answer. X squared, x times minus 3 is minus 3x, positive 2 times x is positive 2x, and 2 times negative 3 is minus 6. So we end up with exactly what we started with just there. Now we're not quite finished. In this case, I'm going to be a little bit cheeky, we've got this part done, which is really good, but it's only covering that bit. So we haven't put in our common factor that we took out. So our full answer, 2 brackets x plus 2, close brackets, x minus 3. And that's it, we're all sorted. I'll leave you with the enrichment.